Welcome back, America. You know, we're here with Professor Jonathan Turley. I'm a huge admirer. I don't like most professors. You I like. And because you're able to take complicated subjects, you're intellectually honest about them, and apply them to facts and events and explain them in a way people can understand. That is a very unique skill, and you have it. You're a law professor at George Washington University. I hope you have tenure. So that's number one. Number two, and the other thing is, he's written a tremendous book, a book that is so relevant today to everything that's going on, The Indispensable Right, Free Speech in an Age of Rage. Right here, Free Speech in an Age of Rage. Professor, let me talk to you about this age of rage. You know, we have this war on the Supreme Court now. Now they want to change the makeup of the court. Before they wanted to pack the court. You can see you have a dehumanization effort. Really, I call it against Clarence Thomas. It's constant. It's against Alito because of the Dobbs decision. Every now and then they throw in Gorsuch. You saw Schumer attack, Kavanaugh and Gorsuch. And now these attacks on Judge Cannon. Are you concerned about this, particularly in light of your book, The Indispensable Right, this rage that's going on and so forth?
I am very concerned. And first of all, Mark, thank you for having me on. You've been one of the great defenders of free speech your whole career. And so it's a real pleasure to discuss the book with you. But yes, and the book talks about this, that I'm not as concerned about the Supreme Court because it was designed for this moment. The framers created protections for the court to withstand these moments. It says more about the president when President Biden announced that he would support, quote, limits on the Supreme Court. It really is one of those moments that is chilling for everyone. It's like when an animal gets its paw caught in a trap and gnaws it off.
And today I'm calling for 3 bold reforms to restore trust and accountability to the court and our democracy. First, I'm calling for a constitutional amendment called No One is Above the Law Amendment. It holds, and I mean this sincerely, it holds that there's no immunity for crimes former president committed while in office. I share our founders' belief that the president must answer to the law. The president is accountable in the exercise of the great power of the presidency. We're a nation of laws, not kings and dictators. The decision can be boiled down to the title of one case, Trump versus the United States. The court asserted it was making a ruling for the ages. That isn't true. The court made a ruling for one, a former president. No other president in our history has asked for this kind of immunity for criminal actions. And no president, no former president, not me, not one, has and should have been given any exception to this with such immunity. The second thing I'm asking for, we've had term limits for presidents of the United States for nearly 75 years after the Truman administration. And I believe we should have term limits for Supreme Court justices of the United States as well. Third, I'm calling for a binding code of conduct for the Supreme Court. Supreme Court's current ethics code is weak and, even more frightening, voluntary. Any code of Congress must be enforceable. Under the reform I propose, justice would be required to disclose gifts, refrain from public political activity, recuse themselves in cases in which they or their spouses have a financial or other conflict of interest.
The president's now offering up the Supreme Court to the far left of his party. And that says more about the president. It's a sad statement about his legacy. So we've seen this before. We've been here before. We've heard these voices before. I mean, that's what this book is about. It tries to tell our story of free speech through the personalities and periods that we've lived through. And it's an unvarnished history. I mean, it's a violent history. It's a history where we didn't always do the right thing. But we do have a system here that is better, perhaps, than we are at any given moment. And Mark, when you talk about these attacks on the justices, we're better than this. But we can't assume that just because we've survived those earlier ages of rage, that we'll survive this one with free speech intact.
And speaking of free speech, we've seen through this whole campaign of lawfare against Donald Trump, and you've commented on this, one judge after another imposing the most atrocious gag orders that one can imagine. Is it not the case that a defendant who's fighting for their liberty, that's the time they should be able to speak and say pretty much whatever the hell they need to say to the American people and anybody else who will listen?
Absolutely. And I think that those gag orders were deeply troubling. I thought they went way too far. And then the judge kept the gag order in place after the jury and the verdict had already been rendered and left. And the idea that you have this judge in Manhattan with a throttle control over what the leading presidential candidate can say. But once again, we've seen this before. You know, one of the things I say in the book is that Joe Biden is the most anti-free speech president since John Adams. And in the 1800 election, Thomas Jefferson ran on free speech. In my view, free speech should also be the focus of the 2024 election. Thomas Jefferson won because he was able to show how the opponents of John Adams were being arrested, how there was this crackdown on free speech under the Alien and Sedition Acts. And the American people rejected that legacy. And it's partially because it's in our DNA. The American people are not really behind this anti-free speech movement. This is the most dangerous anti-free speech movement in our history because of this alliance of universities and the media and the government and corporations. We've never had that alliance come together against free speech. But it's not a popular movement. It came originally from higher education. But polls show that the public still has this instinctual opposition to censorship. But that's why that Joe Biden and Vice President Harris should be forced to defend this censorship system that a federal court called Orwellian. They've spent 4 years fighting every effort to disclose what they've been doing with this alliance. Let them now defend it. And that's what I go into the book about how this legacy should now be called to the forefront for both Biden and Harris.
The book is The Indispensable Right, Free Speech in an Age of Rage. You can get it at Amazon.com, any major bookstore. It is so thoroughly relevant today. And I'll tell you one other thing. I read a lot of books on the Constitution and the founding. This has to be the finest First Amendment book, Professor, I'm telling you, that I've ever read. And I can tell you, spent many, many years putting this book together. From the very beginning, all the way up to now. Excellent job.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.